It is time for Pete Prisco's annual Better Than team. Group of 20 players he likes more than most of the scouts. 9 years ago, it was Levante David, captain of the Better Than team 2012. And David won the Super Bowl this past season as a member of the Bucs and then agreed to return to chase another ring with Tom Brady, a key part of Tampa's run to the Super Bowl and then harassing Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. He was a first-team All-Pro back in 2013, second-team All-Pro player this past season, Bucs all-time leader in TFL. So, this is a look at the brand new one with Deyami Brown, the captain of Pete Prisco's Better Than team heading in to the draft, which is 2 weeks from Thursday. Brown, one of 5 wide receivers on Pete's Better Than team. Very deep at the wide receiver position, including Amir Smith-Marset from Iowa. Those are the offensive players on Pete's Better Than team. Here are some of the defensive players, including Asante Samuel Jr., he's a little bit short, 5'9", 5'10", but Pete thinks that is not really going to matter at the NFL level. He's going to be a great cornerback. So let's break down some of these guys with Pete Prisco. And Pete, let's start with the captain, Deyami Brown. Why do you like him so much?
Every time you put the tape on of Deyami Brown, he's running by somebody. And in that, in the NFL, if you have that kind of speed, and he ran 4.4 at his pro day, but if you have that kind of speed and play speed like that, then I think that puts the fear in defensive backs, and everybody's looking for it. And it's not just he's a one-trick pony either. The guy can run routes. He's a good route runner. He's had a couple drops here and there, but I think he's one of those guys that's going to be a better player on the next level than he was even in college, because they had other guys to throw the football to. They also ran the ball very well. As you know, they're going to have 2 running backs picked in this draft. So I think that he's going to be better in the NFL, and it wouldn't shock me to see him be better than one of the big 3 receivers in this draft.
Yeah, could get all 3 of those top receivers picked in the top 15 or so. Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith are those top 3. We've had Rondale Moore, Kadarius Toney, even Rashad Bateman sneaking into the first round of some of our mock drafts. But Pete Prisco likes Deyami Brown, who is not listed in the top 10 of the wide receivers. Quarterbacks, we're talking all about the guys who are going to be drafted in the top 10. There are 4 or 5 of them that might do that. But then you're going to have quarterbacks that go in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round. And Stanford quarterback Davis Mills is one of those guys. He's ranked as our number 6 quarterback, Pete. In Ryan Wilson's latest mock, he goes number 52 to the Bears. Haven't seen much of him, though. He only started 12 games in his college career.
Yeah, and he started as a big recruit coming out of Georgia. I mean, he was a big-time recruit, went to Stanford. KJ Costello played, then got hurt 2 years ago, and he played 6 games. Mills did. And then Costello transferred, and Mills was the starter last year, but they didn't play a full schedule because of COVID. But you put tape on him, and he's a big, strong, physical guy, stands in there. Prototypical NFL quarterback. Not really a great thrower on the move, but can stand in and make the throws. And I think that the team like Tampa Bay picking at 32, if you're looking for a quarterback of the future, you might keep an eye on Davis Mills in that spot. I think he's going to be better than one of the 5 quarterbacks that do go in the top end of the first round.
Okay, and then moving on to a defensive player. We're very familiar with Asante Samuel. FSU's Asante Samuel Jr. could be a first-rounder. He is pretty short, though, and that's kind of the knock against him. But, Pete, I know you're not going to discriminate against any short guys. You were a great football player back in your day in high school and middle school.
Yeah, well, he's one of those guys that learned to play the position his entire life. I mean, his father was a great player. And in talking to personnel guys and even coaches, they all put the tape on of Asante Samuel, and they say he's ready to play right now. And if he's anything like his father, he's going to be one of those guys that makes a ton of plays. His father was a really good corner for a long time, and I think Asante Samuel Jr. has the same type of traits. Again, he's 5'10". If he were 2 inches taller, he'd be considered maybe the top corner in this draft. That's how impressed I am with him. He's feisty, he's tough, he doesn't back down. And I know some people will say the bigger receivers will give him problems, but he's battled against those guys and done a nice job in his college career. So I really like him. I think he goes in the first round. I think he'll sneak into the back end of it.
All right, to another level of the defense and to Kentucky linebacker Jamin Davis. And a lot like Davis Mills at the quarterback position, we just didn't see a lot of him in college. He only started for 1 season.
But boy, it was a heck of a one season. I mean, this kid is 6'4", 240 pounds, can run, can get to the football in those wide zone plays, those stretch plays, and he's good in pass coverage. I mean, he had an interception against Tennessee where he took the ball over 80 yards for a touchdown and just showed his ability to drop into coverage, read the eyes of the quarterback, and take off and run. And you can see it there. I mean, this is a special player, a big, long, athletic player who also is tough enough to hang in there against the run. If you want guys who can change the way the game is played in terms of being able to drop into coverage and make interceptions and attack the quarterback, he's a lot like Anthony Barr, who plays for the Vikings, and I think that's high praise for this kid. He's going to be a heck of a player. And he's a first-rounder in Ryan Wilson's latest mock, number 26 to the Browns. A couple of Miami edge rushers are likely going to be first-rounders. Quincy Roche, probably not going to be a first-rounder, but you still like him a lot despite his somewhat lack of athleticism. Why is that? He's tough and plays hard every play. And I think in their defense, remember, he went to Temple, was a big-time player at Temple, and wanted to challenge himself to be at a better program and transferred to Miami, playing a higher level of competition. And then when Greg Rousseau opted out, he became a starter. And when you watch him, he's one of those guys that even if the tackle is that much bigger than him, he always engages and plays hard and tough. And I think he was miscast in their defense. I think he's a stand-up 3-4 rush guy. He even said that. We talked to him when they had that pro day workout over there at the Fort Lauderdale Stadium a month ago. And he said, look, I think I would be better standing up playing a 3-4 outside linebacker, and I think that's what he's going to do in the next level. A team like the Ravens, he would be perfect for them. All right, let's move to the inside of the defensive line. LSU defensive tackle Tyler Sheldon. You listed him on the article on CBSSports.com at around 350 pounds. Do you think that that weight is a strength, or is it going to be a weakness for him? Well, Chris, at one point he was 370, and you know, he did change some things and lost weight. And, you know, when he played last year, remember he opted out last year, the year before when they won the national championship, he was a force in the middle of their line. You put on the tape against Alabama, and Landon Dickerson's a heck of a center, and that offensive line is good, and he was tough to move off the point of attack. I mean, he's physical. He's not going to give you much in the pass game in terms of pressuring the quarterback, although he does it a little better than you would expect for a guy that big. But when you put on the tape and watch him in the run game, he is outstanding, and he's hard to move. And everybody's looking for those big guys. You got to stop the run. If you can stop the run, you're going to be able to get more pressure on the quarterback. Speaking of the run, we go to a running back here as we continue on with Pete Prisco's Better Than team. Memphis running back Kenneth Gainwell. How does he compare to fellow Memphis running back Antonio Gibson? They teamed together, shared some time in the backfield a couple of years ago. Yeah, he's probably not as good a receiver as Gibson, but he probably has a little bit more of that home run speed. And he opted out last year as well. But if you're looking for the air back, the guy who can come out of the backfield and rip off the long runs, get a little space, a crack and a crease, and off he goes, I think that's Gainwell. I really like his game, and I think he's going to be another one of those backs that's probably drafted in the second or third round, who a year from now everybody look back and say, boy, why did they wait to pick him? Because they wait to pick him because they're running backs. But draft them. You know my philosophy, Chris. Draft them, run them into the ground, and draft another one. They grow on trees, those running backs in the NFL. Pete Prisco with his Better Than team here in 2021, just a couple weeks ahead of the draft. Pete is going to rejoin us in the 4 p.m. Eastern Time hour, along with Brady Quinn. We're going to hit the war rooms for several teams, including the Cards, Chargers, and Bengals.
Justin Fields having a second pro day today. We talked to a former Heisman great about what he thinks about the top quarterbacks heading into the draft and who he says is being overlooked. Next.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.